Hello everybody, it's Nick here with Nick Tolman Music, and today we are going to go ahead and continue our guitar lesson series using Hal Leonard Guitar Method Book 2. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so today we're going to take a look at page 6 here in the Hal Leonard Guitar Method Book 2. And I'm really excited about this lesson because it's our first one in this series where we're learning a song with words. Alright, so we're going to learn a new song, we're going to learn how to play it, learn the chords, learn how to sing it, put it all together. And that's great. It's Rocka My Soul. Alright, and it's a classic spiritual and should be a good time. And then we got a chord exercise, kind of enforcing this syncopation thing that we've been doing. And then down on exercise 21, we have some more syncopation exercises and kind of talking about some left-hand technique that we can do to kind of help with that, all right? So let's go ahead and dive right in. At the very top, we're going to start by playing the melody to Rocka My Soul at 72, all right? So here's 72 on the metronome. We're going to play this melody for you. 1, 2, and ready and play. All right. Yeah, so that is not overly challenging, right? We're focusing on some new concepts. There is a couple syncopated rhythms that happen, but again, kind of like what we experienced in our last lesson, the syncopated rhythm that happens is the same each time. So in the second measure, the fourth measure, and the sixth measure, 1 and 2 and 4. 1 and 2 and 4. 1 and 2 and 4, right? And that's the syncopation there, okay? So as you go through, I mean, there's nothing really crazy. We start out with open strings. 1 and 2 and 4. Okay, now we've got this D7 chord measure. Same rhythm, but now we have A and an F sharp, so make sure we're good with our fourth finger here. F sharp. Then we do it again. Then moving into this fifth measure, it's exactly the same as the first measure. Nice. Now, with this one, remember, we're going to learn how to sing this. So it's really important that you really internalize this melody, right? So at this point in the game, once you've learned the melody, you can play the melody. I would start working right away on being able to sing that melody while you play it, right? Rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Oh, rock my soul. Right? And getting used to interpreting or getting used to really internalizing that melody. Right? The goal here, as we've talked about in past, if you've followed through my book 1, you've heard me say this a million times, but the goal is for you to be able to sing that melody without playing along, right? That's how you know you really know the melody. And actually hit the notes, right? Rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Oh, rock my soul. Soul. that's enough, right? And you should be able to play that last note and actually have it be the last note that you're singing, okay? And sometimes if you feel like you're getting off a little bit when you're practicing that, maybe you can throw little notes in, like something like, rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Oh, rock my soul. Right? I'm just kind of giving myself little notes here and there, maybe the first note of each measure or whatever, to make sure that I'm staying on pitch-wise with my singing. All right? So let's go ahead and add some chords to the melody, and you can hear what it sounds like with chords, and then we'll bump the tempo up and do some singing and do some good stuff. So here's the melody played and chords played at 72 on the metronome. 1 and 2 and ready and play. There we go. And the rhythm I played on that strumming pattern is 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and, right? You can find that rhythm written on our previous page, page 5 on exercise 16. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and take this up a little faster. I'm going to play the melody and the chords together once at 104, and then I'm going to go ahead and sing it with the chords so you can hear what that's all about. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, and ready, and. Right, let's go ahead and add some chords. Here we go. 1, 2, 1 and 2 and ready, and. All right, and lastly, let's go ahead and play it and sing it at the same time. Again, we've learned the melody. We've sang the melody while we played it. We've sang the melody without playing. And now we're ready to add it to the chords. Here we go. Here's our first note. 1, 2, 1, 2, and ready, and. Rockin' my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rockin' my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rockin' my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Oh, rockin' my soul. And there we go. Awesome. That's great. You know, you might find some challenge. You might find it a little bit challenging as you're doing syncopated rhythms, but you're not necessarily singing syncopated rhythms. So get creative, you know, work with your strumming pattern. It doesn't always have to be like black and white, by the book, exactly the same pattern throughout. I mean, sometimes you do want that and need that, but sometimes you can kind of just make it work with what you're singing and kind of go with that. All right, as long as you're staying in time and keeping with that metronome. All right, so let's take a look at exercise 20. We're going to take our metronome back down to 72, and we're just working on some syncopation and some chords. Here we go. 1, 2, and ready, and play. 2, 3, and 4, and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and 3, 4, 1. Right? That's the idea. Okay, so this one is, there's really not that much to talk about. The syncopation is happening over the bar line, which don't overthink it. It's just all the same as long as we're keeping that motor going. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3, 4, 1. It shouldn't be any problem. It's just keeping track of that motor and counting those notes. All right, so let's go ahead and bump the metronome up to 120. Here we go. 1, 2, 1 and 2 and ready and. I like that progression and that pattern. That's really fun. All right, feel free to loop that as much as you want to. All right, so let's take a look at exercise 21. And, you know, this is more syncopation that's taking place, but it is going to talk about a little bit about a technique that we can use for these eighth rests, right? We talked about eighth rests a couple lessons ago. That should be a pretty clear concept. If you need to go back and review, please do. But basically, when I gave the example in that lesson, I was basically making those rests by muting the strings with my right hand. That's certainly something that you can do. When you start to play faster and faster, that might become unfeasible because you're always like trying to strum and hit the strings, and it just becomes too much. But you can also mute strings just by releasing pressure with your left hand. So if I play this D chord and I just let off with my fingers, if you have a really good guitar that's very resonant, it might continue to ring a little bit, and that's okay, but the primary amount of the sound stops, right? So this is what it's wanting us to do on this exercise. So basically this rhythm that's happening is 1, 2, 3, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, rest, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, rest, and 3, and 4, and, right? So there are going to be some little mini rests in there, and that's where he wants you to like let off with your fingers during that time. So I'm actually going to start this one even slower than normal. Okay, we're going to start at 60 on the metronome so we can really emphasize that left hand releasing on this exercise. So here we go. I'm going to play it for you at 60. We'll talk about it. 1, 2, and ready and play. That's the idea. This might be a little tricky. It might not. But some things that you can think about and some things that you can do to practice, or maybe to start with just one chord, right? Just play the D chord. I'm going to do it real slow. I'm going to zoom in on my left hand so you can really just kind of see the motion that's happening on those rests. Rest, rest, and the idea is to get used to that finger pressure coming on and off. And it might feel a little weird, it might feel a little bit challenging, but that is a really important thing to be able to do down the road. I mean, especially when you're doing like bar chords and stuff, this can be really drastic, right? See how that just totally kills the sound? So if I was going to do this with a bar chord on the 5th fret, now you start to see, oh, that's why we're doing this. It might be kind of hard to really grasp why this is happening with these open position chords when the sound is still kind of ringing, but really focus on letting off on those 8th rests and then bringing it back on to play the next note. All right, so let's go ahead and take this up a little bit. Here is 120 on the metronome. And again, you're slowly working your way up. You're playing all the tempos in between. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 1, and 2, and ready, and. And that's the idea. Okay, thank you so much for tuning into today's lessons. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. It's great having you here, and we will see you at our next lesson. Thanks.